Welcome to the channel on Wildlife Research. My name is Alex. I'm a grad student at Clemson University right now, where I study coyote ecology. And today I'm going to show you a video of scat surveys. So this is what we do to find coyote scat. That's their poop, figure out what they're eating. And go ahead and comment below. Tell me what your favorite carnivore is and why. All right, today we're doing scat surveys. And what that means is basically we're driving around on dirt roads like the one you see I'm on right here, and we're looking for coyote poop. So coyote poop, aka scat, aka feces, same thing. And we're basically trying to figure out what they're eating and you know how that changes throughout the year and even during a season. So right now it's July 15th. This is actually the last scat survey of summer 2020, and so we've been doing these surveys all through the summer, starting in actually late April. And so we're trying to see how their diet changes throughout the summer, and particularly how that relates to fawns on the landscape, because as you might know, fawns are born in May and June, and now that it's July, we might expect there to be a little bit less fawns in their diet and maybe some other things starting to replace those. And this is our steed, or one of them. This is how we get around. We're doing scat survey. It's really nice, so we can get a really nice visual out the front. We can get around without having to worry about getting stuck. So now we're actually doing the scat survey, and we're not going real fast, even though it's fun to go fast, but we're going slow. I try and go about 10 miles an hour to make sure I don't miss any scat. And so this what we call a transect, is basically the path that we drive every few days to check for new scat. Right now, just driving this road slowly, I'm looking for any scat. Any type of, it could be a coyote, it may be a bobcat, any type of scat. I'm going to stop, get off, and potentially sample it, if it's fresh enough. All right, we found our first scat of the day. So I can get down here so you can see it. It's a little broken apart. It looks like, it's hard to tell what, probably a coyote scat, could be a fox scat, but it looks like some fruit as the contents. All right, so get one of these tubes. This has a DNA buffer in it, and basically what that means, the DNA buffer, is that it preserves DNA. And so what we're actually doing now is we're going to take some of this scat, let's see, and take a piece, and we're going to try and pick off some of the outside of the scat. So some of this one's a little dried out, so it's a little tough, but just like a little piece like that, and we'll put it in the buffer. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get DNA from the coyote or actually probably think it's a fox, right? But whatever animal deposited this scat, we're trying to get its DNA. And so when an animal poops, a little bit of their DNA comes off from their intestine, and that's left on the outside of the scat. And so what we're doing is sampling this scat, and we're trying to see what animal deposited it. So that will preserve the DNA. Days old, thickest diameter. All right, so now this is just one way to potentially tell apart scat, or who deposited the scat, is by measuring its diameter. And then last thing we'll do before we collect it is we'll mark a GPS point. So if you can see that, but I just marked my location here, and I'll write that down. Those are coordinates. And so that'll be useful later when we see kind of how scats are distributed across the landscape and how that relates to habitat. All right, and then last thing would be actually collecting the scat. So that's just gonna put it in a Ziploc bag, right? Its ID and stuff on. Open up that bag. Sometimes the scats are a lot, if they're fresh, they're moist and gross and they smell really bad. This one, it's a little fruity, and it's a few days old, so it's not bad. So that's it. And we'll put this in our box, and we'll be on our way back to the car. Alright, we're at the second scat transect. And one thing you might notice right off the bat is the habitat a lot different, right? This is what we call a clear cut in the pines. you know, they're several feet high, maybe 5 feet or 4 feet or so. You know, so that's why we're doing these surveys in these different type of habitats, to figure out how the prey source might change and then how the scats might change. Okay, I'm trying to do the scat survey, but I just keep seeing things that are just too good of an opportunity not to show y'all, to pass up. So we got some really cool, fresh, nice tracks here, and I think actually this is a bobcat. Notice just how round this track is, and compare that to this track here, which that's definitely a coyote. And again, back to the bobcat, it's a little jumbled, get out of the sun there. But so there's a few tracks there, but just focus on this one. You know, look how round that is. So, and then we've got these coyote tracks along this road, which are really, really, I mean, nice. I mean, anytime you can see claw marks like you can on that, that means, you know, those are great tracks. Got a nice looking scat right here, which is rolled up on. Got a few pieces. Looks like preliminarily probably a coyote. You know, definitely hair inside, a little bit white on the outside, but pretty indicative of a coyote is this taper right here. You see at the ends of pieces. For whatever reason, you know, bobcats don't tend to have that, and the scat's, you know, large enough to not be a fox. So looks like a nice coyote scat, several days old, got baked by the heat, but we'll definitely collect it. All right, we're still on the second transect of the day out of 8, and it's already 10 a.m. and it's already getting hot, getting roasted. But I did just find this, the third scat for this transect, and it's a cool one because I'm pretty sure it's a bobcat, and I'll show you it to you right now. And what you'll notice, you know, compared to that last one is, you know, the segments, and they're kind of quote unquote clean, you know, and there's no, at the ends, you know, there's no taper, like there's no twists or anything, and it's fairly smooth on the outside. So this is, to me, this is a textbook bobcat, and then we'll run genetics on it and we'll confirm. You know, it's interesting doing scat surveys. You start to notice certain things, like where scats tend to be, and for coyotes at least, it seems to be, they really like intersections, so like dirt roads kind of coming together. They like those spots to mark, you know, because scats kind of serve as a mechanism for coyotes to mark their territory sometimes. Sometimes that's like the border of their territory, so if another coyote comes in, they can, you know, find that scat and know, okay, this is my territory. So you can see the road there, and behind me it narrows, and you know, it's a little bit of a, it's hard to tell in the video, but it's a raised area, and so they tend to like these kind of spots to mark. And I didn't find any scat here today, but I have in the past. So earlier I was talking about some high places where coyotes, you know, might tend to check out and mark, because, you know, high places are more likely to smell to travel around, and this is one right here. So if you look, you know, where I'm going, and then behind me the road drops down a bit, and we've caught a couple coyotes up here, so we know this is an area where they come. We are on our way to the 6th transect, so 2 more after this, and kind of a little ways out here in the boondocks. Doing some walking out here. I'll show you what's on our left right here. You can see those trees probably. And a lot of that's been cut. That's a wrap. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to comment below what's your favorite carnivore and why you think that one.